Ah, look who's standing here, untouched, unbothered, unbroken, while their entire empire crumbled into dust and ashes. You didn't lift a single finger, did you? You didn't sabotage, didn't manipulate, didn't scheme, didn't plot revenge in the shadows like they swore you did. You simply existed, moved forward, stayed silent, and somehow mysteriously everything they built collapsed. Funny how that works, isn't it? Funny how the universe has a sense of irony so sharp it cuts deeper than any blade you could have ever wielded. They're sitting there right now, drowning in the wreckage of their own creation, pointing fingers at you, screaming your name like a curse, convinced you're the architect of their destruction. But here's the beautiful, twisted, poetic truth they'll never accept. You have no blood on your hands, no schemes in your history, no evidence linking you to a single crack in their foundation. Yet somehow they're the ones bleeding out. Let's rewind for a second, because this story, this masterpiece of cosmic justice, didn't start yesterday. It started the moment they made you their target, their scapegoat, their villain without a crime. They looked at you, someone who refused to play their games, someone who walked with integrity even when it hurt. Someone who wouldn't bend, break, or bow to their manipulations. And they decided you were the problem. Not because you did anything wrong, but because you did everything right. And that was unbearable to them. So they launched their campaign. Subtle at first, whispers in corners, seeds of doubt planted in conversations you weren't invited to. Narratives spun with just enough venom to sound convincing. They needed you guilty. Desperately needed you guilty. Because if you were guilty, then their chaos made sense. Their attacks were justified. Their cruelty was self-defense. But you weren't guilty, were you? No, you were clean. Maddeningly, infuriatingly clean. And that drove them absolutely insane. So what did they do? They kept digging, kept pushing, kept waiting for you to slip, to crack, to give them just one moment of weakness they could weaponize. They watched your every move like hawks circling prey, analyzing your words, dissecting your choices, searching desperately for the smoking gun that would prove you were the monster they painted you as. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, months into years, and still nothing. No lies, no betrayals, no hidden agendas, no skeletons rattling in your closet. You were frustratingly transparent, annoyingly consistent, impossibly resilient, and every day you didn't break was another day their accusations looked weaker, their credibility crumbled, their desperation showed. But here's the thing about desperate people. They don't stop when they're wrong. They double down. So, they escalated, turned up the pressure, made your name synonymous with suspicion, even without proof. Convinced others to join their crusade against an enemy who never actually attacked them. And you just kept walking forward. Now, here's where the plot thickens, where reality starts bending in ways they never saw coming. While they were busy obsessing over you, consumed by their need to destroy you, distracted by their hatred and envy and fear of what you represented, their own lives started falling apart. Not because you cursed them, not because you schemed against them, not because you orchestrated some elaborate revenge plan from the shadows. No, it happened because people who spend their energy tearing others down never have enough left to build themselves up. Their relationships started cracking. Small fractures at first, barely noticeable. Little arguments, tiny resentments, moments of disconnect that seemed insignificant. Their careers hit roadblocks. Opportunities slipped through their fingers. Projects failed. Partnerships dissolved. Money got tighter. Stress got heavier. Sleep got harder. Their mental health deteriorated. Anxiety crept in. Paranoia took root. Trust evaporated. Peace became a distant memory they couldn't quite grasp anymore. And through it all, through every collapsing pillar in their lives, they kept looking at you, kept blaming you, kept insisting somehow you were behind it all. But you weren't, were you? You were over here, growing, building, evolving, focusing on your own path while they self-destructed in slow motion. You weren't casting spells. You weren't pulling strings. You weren't whispering curses into the night. You were just living your truth, protecting your peace, refusing to engage in their circus. And apparently, that was the most destructive thing you could have possibly done to them. Because when you stopped feeding their drama, stopped reacting to their provocations, stopped giving them the fight they needed to feel alive, you removed yourself as the center of their universe. And suddenly they had to face themselves. Face the emptiness. Face the rot they've been projecting onto you all along. Suddenly the mirror turned and what they saw wasn't you. It was them. Raw and unfiltered and ugly and real. And that revelation, that unavoidable confrontation with their own reflection, that's what destroyed them. Not you, them. Always them. Let's talk about the accusations because the accusations were something special, weren't they? Creative, detailed, passionate accusations built on absolutely nothing but their imagination and desperation. They said you sabotaged their success even though you were nowhere near their projects, their jobs, their opportunities. They said you poisoned their relationships even though you hadn't spoken to their partners, their friends, their family members in months, maybe years. They said you spread rumors even though your mouth stayed closed, your focus stayed forward, your energy stayed clean. They said you manipulated situations behind the scenes. Even though you were openly, visibly, provably doing your own thing in your own lane, every accusation was smoke without fire, noise without substance, a story without evidence. But they told those stories anyway, repeated them until they almost sounded true, convinced themselves so thoroughly that they started believing their own lies. And the wildest part, even when confronted with the complete absence of proof, they didn't back down. They just said, you were too smart, too calculated, too clever to leave evidence. You became the perfect criminal in their minds. Guilty precisely because there was no proof. How do you defend yourself against that kind of delusion? You don't. You don't defend yourself against people who are committed to misunderstanding you, who need you to be guilty more than they need oxygen, who have built their entire identity around opposing you. You just let them talk, let them accuse, let them exhaust themselves screaming into the void while you keep building in silence. And that's exactly what you did, isn't it? You stopped explaining, stopped defending, stopped trying to prove your innocence to people who had already decided on your guilt. You stopped showing up to trials you never agreed to. Stopped answering to judges who had no authority over your life. Stopped participating in a system designed to drain you regardless of the verdict. You went quiet, not because you were hiding, but because you were done wasting energy on battles that didn't deserve your attention. And that silence, that refusal to engage, that commitment to your own peace over their chaos, that's when everything shifted. That's when they started losing grip, losing control, losing power. Because the only power they ever had over you was the power you gave them by responding, by caring, by letting their words land. The moment you stopped catching their poison, they had nowhere to throw it but back at themselves. And throw it they did. Oh, they absolutely did. Every ounce of venom they prepared for you, every trap they set, every manipulation they crafted, it all backfired spectacularly. The lies they spread came back to haunt them. People started questioning their credibility, noticing patterns, seeing through the performance. The energy they spent attacking you was energy they didn't have for their own growth, their own healing, their own responsibilities. And slowly their lives reflected that neglect. Relationships built on shared hatred are fragile. And when you remove the common enemy, there's nothing left to bond over. So their alliances started crumbling. Careers built on stepping on others are unstable. And when karma starts balancing the scales, the foundation shakes, so their professional lives started suffering. Mental health built on projection and blame is a ticking time bomb. And when you can't escape your own thoughts, when you're forced to sit with yourself, the explosion is inevitable. So their peace disintegrated. And through all of it, through every disaster, every setback, every loss, they kept pointing at you, kept insisting you caused it, kept refusing to see the obvious truth, staring them in the face. They did this to themselves. Here's what they'll never understand. What their minds are too clouded to grasp. You don't need to destroy people who are busy destroying themselves. You don't need revenge when karma has a better memory and a longer reach than you ever could. You don't need to fight dirty when you can win clean. Don't need to manipulate when you can simply elevate. Don't need to tear them down when you can just rise above. They expected you to play their game, to get in the mud. To fight fire with fire. To become the villain they accused you of being. But you didn't. You chose a different path, the harder path, the path of discipline and dignity and silent strength. You chose to heal instead of hurt, to build instead of destroy, to focus on your own growth instead of their downfall. And that choice, that refusal to become what they wanted you to be, that's what made you untouchable. That's what made you dangerous. Not because you attacked them, but because you didn't need to. Your success became the revenge. Your peace became the punishment. Your happiness became the evidence that they were wrong about you all along. But let's get specific about the collapse because it's important to understand how thoroughly their world fell apart while you remained standing. Their finances started draining. Unexpected expenses, bad investments, opportunities that seemed solid suddenly evaporating, money slipping through their fingers like water no matter how tightly they tried to hold on. Their health declined, stress manifesting physically, sleep escaping them, energy depleting, bodies breaking down under the weight of sustained negativity and unresolved guilt. Their relationships deteriorated beyond repair. Partners who once stood by them started seeing the truth. Friends started distancing themselves. Family members started asking uncomfortable questions. Isolation crept in where connection used to be. Their reputations took hits slowly at first, then faster. Whispers spreading about their behavior. Their credibility questioned, their character analyzed. The very thing they tried to do to you happening to them with actual evidence. This time, their mental clarity vanished. Paranoia replacing logic, anxiety replacing confidence, confusion replacing certainty, peace becoming a concept they could no longer access. And all of this, every single piece of their unraveling, happened without you lifting a finger, without you saying a word, without you doing anything except existing and thriving and refusing to be broken by their hatred. The most beautiful part of this entire story is the simplicity of your role in it. You didn't orchestrate their downfall. You didn't need to. You just removed yourself from their toxic ecosystem and watched nature take its course. You stopped being their emotional punching bag, their scapegoat, their distraction from their own failures. And suddenly they had to face the consequences of their own choices without someone else to blame. You stopped feeding their drama, their chaos, their need for conflict. and suddenly the energy they were using against you had nowhere to go but inward. You stopped validating their false narratives, their lies, their delusions. And suddenly the stories they told started falling apart under the weight of inconsistency and absence of proof. You didn't fight them. You simply outgrew them, evolved past them, ascended beyond the level where their attacks could even reach you. And from that higher vantage point, you watched them struggle, watched them scramble, watched them desperately try to make sense of why everything was falling apart, completely unable to see that they were the architects of their own destruction. They're still talking about you, you know, still convinced you're the reason for their misery. Still telling anyone who will listen that you did something, even though they can't say what, can't provide proof, can't explain how. They've built entire mythologies around your supposed power, your alleged manipulation, your imagined schemes. In their minds, you've become this all-powerful force capable of destroying lives from a distance without leaving a trace. It's almost flattering, isn't it? The way they've elevated you to this level of untouchable influence, this phantom villain who controls their fate without ever being present. But the reality is so much simpler and so much more devastating to their egos. You're not powerful because you destroyed them. You're powerful because you didn't have to. You're not dangerous because you attacked. You're dangerous because you evolved. You're not the villain in their story. You're the lesson they refused to learn. And now they're stuck in this prison of their own making, surrounded by the rubble of what they destroyed. Still screaming your name, still blaming you, still unable to accept the truth that would set them free. They did this to themselves. Let's talk about the witnesses, because this story has an audience and that audience has eyes. People watched this entire saga unfold. Watched them attack you relentlessly. Watched you remain calm and composed. Watched them make accusations without evidence. Watched you stay silent with dignity. And slowly, quietly, perceptions shifted. People started noticing patterns, started questioning narratives, started seeing through the performance. They watched your accusers' lives fall apart while you remained stable, watched the chaos surround them while peace surrounded you, watched karma work in real time with mathematical precision. And the whispers started different whispers this time. Whispers of doubt about the people who spent years trying to convince everyone you were the problem. If they were really innocent, why are they suffering? If they were really right about them, why is everything falling apart for them and not for them? Maybe they were projecting all along. Maybe they were the toxic ones. Maybe we were wrong to believe them without proof. Those whispers, those questions, those shifting perspectives, you didn't create those. You didn't manipulate people into seeing the truth. You simply lived your truth long enough for the lies to expose themselves. The validation must feel surreal sometimes, doesn't it? After years of being misunderstood, misrepresented, painted as something you never were, suddenly the tide turns. Suddenly, people who once questioned you start defending you. People who once believed the lies start seeing the truth. People who once kept their distance start reaching out with apologies and admiration. They see your strength now, your resilience, your refusal to become bitter despite every reason to be. They see how you handled the pressure, how you maintained your integrity, how you never stooped to the level of those who attacked you. They see the evidence of your character, not in your words, but in your actions, not in your defenses, but in your consistency, not in your reactions, but in your restraint. And that validation, that shift in perception, that public acknowledgement of what you knew privately all along, that's not something you chased or manipulated or fought for. It came naturally, inevitably, as truth always does, when given enough time and space to breathe. You just had to survive long enough to see it. But here's the thing. They'll never forgive you for the ultimate insult to their egos, the unforgivable crime in their eyes. You're happy despite everything they put you through. Despite the years of attacks and accusations and attempts to break your spirit, you're genuinely, authentically, peacefully happy. You're thriving in ways they never predicted, succeeding in areas they said you'd fail, growing into a version of yourself they never thought you'd become. Your life is full. Your heart is light. Your mind is clear. Your future is bright. And none of that requires their approval, their presence, their validation, or their destruction. You built a beautiful life on the foundation of your own values, surrounded yourself with genuine people who see your worth, created opportunities through your own effort and integrity, found peace in your own company and strength in your own character. And that happiness, that thriving, that success, that's the final blow to their narrative, the undeniable proof that everything they said about you was wrong. Because if you were really the person they claimed you were, you wouldn't be standing here whole, healed, and happy. You'd be broken, bitter, and lost. But you're not. And that kills them more than any revenge you could have planned. So what happens now? What comes next in this story where the accused stands clean and the accusers drown in their own poison? Simple. You keep walking forward. You don't gloat. Don't rub it in. Don't sink to the level of petty victory dances. You just keep building, keep growing, keep evolving into the highest version of yourself. You let their collapse be its own lesson. Their suffering be its own consequence. Their regret be its own punishment. You don't need to say, "I told you so," because your life says it louder than words ever could. You don't need to prove them wrong because time already did that work for you. You don't need closure from them because you found closure within yourself. You simply continue on your path, unbothered by their continued existence, unaffected by their continued blame, untouched by their continued bitterness. Because here's the ultimate truth they'll spend the rest of their lives trying to avoid. You won by refusing to play, succeeded by focusing on yourself, triumphed by choosing peace over war. And that's a victory they can never take from you, can never diminish, can never explain away. They'll tell this story for years, you know, twisted and distorted to make themselves the victims and you the villain. They'll gather in their echo chambers, share their version of events, convince each other that you got away with something even though there's nothing to get away with. They'll create elaborate theories about how you manipulated situations, pulled strings behind the scenes, orchestrated their downfall with invisible hands. They need these stories, these fantasies, these delusions because the alternative, the truth, is too painful to accept. The truth that they destroyed themselves, sabotaged their own lives, created their own misery through their own choices. That's unbearable. So they'll keep blaming you, keep pointing fingers, keep constructing narratives where you're the puppet master and they're the innocent victims.